So here is what farming has taught me about opportunity cost within my business and within life as well. So I only learned about opportunity cost, I'd say last year fully. That's when I fully understood what it is. And since then, it's dictated my decision-making process in my business as a farmer and in my life. And it's changed how I perceive other people's decisions also. So let me explain what opportunity cost is and what I've learnt about it through farming. Opportunity cost is the value of the decision that you've chosen not to make because you've chosen an alternative. So the value that you forego by choosing option A is the value of option B. So it's whatever you didn't. So you had an opportunity to do something else, but you didn't choose it, and therefore you've forgone that value. So I hope that somewhat explains it. Let me explain what I learned during farming and two examples of how opportunity cost works in my business. So firstly, we've got a financial example. So if I buy a cow for £2,000, which is, by the way, a reasonable rate potentially for a cow, I am foregoing the opportunity of having that £2,000 invested into something else or just sitting in my bank account. So if I put that £2,000 into a cow, I don't get the chance to earn interest on that in a bank account, and I don't get the chance to invest that into some other opportunity. In a non-financial sense, I also get opportunity cost on my decisions as to how I manage my crops and my land and the things I grow. So if I were to choose option A again, which is, one decision or one crop, let's say, I am foregoing the option of resting that piece of land and potentially improving the soil. I'm also foregoing the chance to invest money into that piece of land and improve it. So it's not always about money. Opportunity cost could mean that so choosing option A in this example might mean I make more money, but it might mean I spend more money, but all it is the option I didn't go for. So we can never truly know the full opportunity cost. That's the scary thing, because we didn't choose option B. We chose option A. Now I want to translate this into life, general life, because this truly, I think, is a real hack. If you can understand this and apply it to your life, it really changes. It's a reframe on every single decision as you go through your life. So every yes has a no attached to it, and every no has a yes attached to it. That's actually an excellent way of just describing what opportunity cost is, full stop. Because otherwise it's a term that's come out of economics, and it's not just financial. It is more of a principle. So every time we say yes to someone, something, some decision, we are saying no to everything else that could have been an alternative. And every time we say no to something, we're saying we are losing out on every time we say no to something, we're saying yes to something else, inversely. So let's give an example of that. Every time you say yes to a certain event that's happening and you accept an invite to an event, you are saying no to all the other options of what you could have done with your time. Financially, if you say no to spending your money into an investment, say you want to buy a car, you are saying yes to having that money available for other things. So that's an example. So those are two huge areas where opportunity cost comes into play in our life. Time's maybe the biggest one. Again, that comes back to that example. When we choose to spend time in one area, we are saying no to spending time in that other area. This can seem unimportant for a long time until you start to value your time. Not just financially, but in terms of what you enjoy doing. So I think a lot of people go through their life and they don't actually realize, I don't like spending time doing this thing or with that group of people or whatever. And therefore you're never equating opportunity cost. You're never putting a value on your time. In a more businessy sense, you could also put a monetary figure on the value of your time. Of course, people do this day to day. You know, most people earn money based on a salary, based on amount of hours worked in a week. A lot of people earn money based on an hourly wage. So, you know, an average hourly wage might be £20, whatever, £50 an hour. Less would be the minimum wage. But that's a good example to get this understood, is that as soon as you put a monetary figure, this becomes very, very literal. Let's actually move on to the money one though in real life. So this one should be easy to understand. If I spend £100 on a meal, I am choosing not to spend that £100 elsewhere or just save it. So this is similar to the example that I learned, you know, in my business. It's the same thing. The best way to understand this, or the best application of this opportunity cost, is again in that economic kind of theory where we're looking at getting return on our money, and this comes back to the business thing. So if I'm only getting a 2% return, let's use my example, on a cow, so it's going to test my maths now. Well, let's say we're getting a 10%, let's use round numbers. Say I want a 10% return from my £2,000, I'm looking for a £200 return, that's 10%. But say another opportunity has 15% returns, I'm losing out on that 5% difference, aren't I? That's my opportunity cost, the 5% difference. I earned 10, but I could have earned 15. That's my opportunity cost. And it's useful when working out economic theory because you can actually charge things opportunity cost. So in the example of purchasing a cow or any sort of investment, technically on an economic model, you should be charging that asset opportunity interest, because that's what the money could have made if it was sitting in a bank account earning you interest. So that's a very strict economic model, but it's a really useful thing to hammer it into your brain how important this is. I've also written, this is going to finish the video up, energy, the opportunity cost of energy. A bit more complex and a bit more abstract. Also, if we choose to invest our energy in terms of attention into one thing, we are choosing not to put it elsewhere. I also think this applies to your mood and your daily decisions of where you place your energy and who you pay attention to. If you choose to become angered or outraged at something, say the news, say somebody cuts you up in traffic, you are paying the opportunity cost of not having that energy to spare to be in a good mood. So that's on you. I think people should take some agency on that. If you have chosen to let yourself be angered, be riled up, then that's on you. Listen, if you want to do that, it's in your power. You can spend your energy how you like, but once you know that it's going to cost you something on the inverse equation, we can then do something about it. So that's going to sum that up. Thank you for watching the video. We'll see you on the next one.